This is the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. There was once a boy named Jack who lived with his mother in a tumble-down cottage. They were so poor they barely had enough to eat. One morning, Jack's mother made up her mind that somehow she must get some money for food.
Take our cow to market, Jack,
she said.
It's the only thing we have, and you must sell it so we can buy some bread.
Driving the cow in front of him, Jack set off for the market. He hadn't gone very far when he was stopped by a stranger.
I will give you these beans in exchange for your cow,
he told Jack as he held out 5 beans in the palm of his hand.
5 beans for one cow?
Jack cried in amazement.
You will not regret it,
replied the stranger. Jack was tired, and he didn't want to walk all the way to the market anyway, so he handed over the cow and put the beans in his pocket. When he reached home, he told his mother what he'd done. She flew into a terrible rage.
5 beans for my valuable cow?
She screamed.
What is to become of us?
In her anger, she threw the beans out of the window. Jack was so frightened he hid in his room. Next morning, he was astonished to see how the beans had grown. They had grown and grown right up into the clouds. In fact, Jack could not see where the beans came to an end. Feeling very brave, he decided to climb to the top. Up, up, up. When he reached the very top, he was able to step off into a green field. At the other side of the field, he could see an enormous castle. He didn't feel quite so brave now, but having climbed all that way, he decided to explore. He crept up to the castle and saw that the door was slightly open, so he tiptoed inside. He was in a large square kitchen. He had not been there more than a moment when he heard a loud roar and the castle shook. Something or somebody came thundering towards him. In fright, Jack jumped into the oven and peeped through the half-open door. Almost at once, a fearsome giant strode into the kitchen, roaring,
3, 5, 0, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Jack was very frightened, but although the giant searched everywhere for him, he didn't think to look inside the oven. Soon the giant gave up his search. He then fetched 2 huge bags filled with gold pieces and sat down to count them at the enormous table. Jack watched wide-eyed as the gold glinted and glowed in the sunlight. When the giant had counted it all, he sat back on his chair, put his hands across his chest, and fell asleep. Now was the time to escape, so Jack crept from the oven and ran toward the door. As he passed the table, he quickly climbed onto a chair and grabbed the bags of gold. With his heart pounding, he ran out of the castle, across the field, and down the beanstalk. Once on the ground, he rushed to his mother and handed her the bags of gold.
Goodness me!
She gasped.
Where did you get that gold?
After he had gotten his breath back, he told her the story of the castle and the fearsome giant. The next morning, Jack decided to climb the beanstalk again. Everything happened as on the day before. Up the beanstalk, across the field, and into the castle he went. This time, Jack made straight for the oven. He had just climbed inside when the giant roared,
3, 5, 0, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Again he searched, but he still couldn't find Jack. Soon the giant gave up, and then he fetched a hen from the next room. Jack could hardly believe his eyes when, on the giant's command, the hen laid an egg.
It's a golden egg, too.
Jack gasped.
Oh, if only I could take that hen to my mother, we would never be poor or hungry again.
Before long, the giant became tired. With the hen still on the table, he fell asleep. In a flash, Jack slipped out of the oven, crossed to the table, and climbed onto a chair. He grabbed the hen and, tucking it under his arm, raced to the door. As he reached the door, the frightened hen let out a loud and piercing squawk.
Master!
The giant woke up with a start. He opened his eyes just in time to see Jack disappear through the door. He pulled himself to his feet and gave chase. How Jack ran! His feet barely touched the ground. But as he reached the beanstalk, he could hear the giant breathing heavily behind him. Still clutching the hen, he half clambered, half fell down the beanstalk. Soon he felt it rock and sway as the giant clambered down after him. When Jack was only halfway down, he called to his mother,
An axe, quickly, bring me an axe!
Luckily, Jack's mother heard him, and when he reached the bottom, she was waiting there with the axe. Jack had no time to tell her what was happening. He handed her the hen and grabbed the axe. He chopped so fiercely that soon the beanstalk began to sway. And then with a mighty crash, it fell to the ground, and the giant hurtled downwards. He was killed in a flash. It was some time before Jack was able to tell his mother the whole story. When she heard that the hen would lay golden eggs whenever she wished, she was very excited.
Now we will never be hungry or poor again, Jack.
Throughout their life, the hen continued to lay the golden eggs, and Jack and his mother were able to live in comfort.
This is the story of the ugly duckling. It was summertime in the country. Mother Duck sat upon her nest of eggs waiting for them to hatch. At last, one egg after another began to crack. Said the fluffy little ducklings as they poked their heads out of the eggs. The last duckling to hatch looked bigger than the rest, and he was an ugly gray color.
You look like a turkey chick to me.
Quacked Mother Duck. But when she took her family to swim, the ugly duckling swam very well.
No, he's not a turkey.
The other ducklings chased and pecked him until the poor ugly duckling was so unhappy he ran away.
I don't belong anywhere.
And wherever he went, no one wanted him. One day, he came to a little hut where an old woman lived with her hen and cat.
Why, here's a fat duck,
said the old woman.
You can stay here if you lay eggs for me.
But the sad little duckling couldn't lay eggs, and the cat and the hen were very unkind to him. So one day, he decided to go away.
Somewhere there must be birds like myself.
Now it was winter. The ugly duckling swam all alone in the river. Then the ice froze, and the poor little duckling was frozen fast. A countryman found him. He broke the ice and took the duckling home with him. The children wanted to play with him, and this frightened the duckling, and out of the door he ran. Again, he was sad and alone. The winter passed very slowly. When springtime came, the ugly duckling flapped his wings and flew down to the water where the lovely white swans were swimming.
What beautiful birds. I expect they will chase me away, for I am so ugly.
Then he hung his head in sorrow. And what did he see in the clear water? A reflected picture of himself. What a surprise! He was no longer a clumsy, ugly gray bird, but a beautiful white swan.